world-renowned Renaissance rock group Blackmore's Night, along with her famous guitar-slinging husband, Richie Blackmore, known to rock and rollers for his time in Rainbow and Deep Purple. While Candice is still very much a part of Blackmore's Night, she has recently stepped out with her own solo release, Starlight Starbright, a children's album that even her adult fans will equally love. The collection of tunes, some are original, some are time-tested classics, are much more than just a collection of lullabies. These songs were inspired by Candice's own journey through motherhood, with her children Autumn, who's now 5, and Rory, who's now 3. The blend of Candice's siren-like voice and the instrumentation of old-world instruments have reportedly been successful not only in lulling children to sleep, but also in calming children that are dealing with sensory issues, hyperactivity, and learning disabilities at various schools where this CD is now being used. You can keep up with Candice online at www.candice-night.com and write this number down because we'll be giving you a chance to call in to win copies of her brand new album, Starlight Starbright. That number is 219-769-9577. 219-769-9577. I'll be announcing when to call in to win throughout the show, so make sure that you keep that phone nearby and keep that number handy. Before we start into talking with Candice and talking about Starlight Starbright, for those that might be unfamiliar with Blackmore's Night, it's a unique band, again, rooted in rock and roll, but using old world instruments, very Renaissance. I'm going to play a little bit of the title track of their latest album from this year. It's an album, All Our Yesterdays. That is the title track of the latest Blackmore's Night album, and I played that to establish what the group's sound is. It's a little bit different than things we normally hear on the radio. It's unique. It's using old world instrumentation. It's very Renaissance-based, and of course, everyone knows Richie Blackmore from his time in Rainbow and Deep Purple. Candice is his muse, his wife, his partner, and we have her on the radio with us now, and we're going to be focusing on her new solo album, which is Starlight Starbright, as I explained earlier in the show. Candice, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I've got to say, I just love the Renaissance sound of Blackmore's Night. It's just so refreshing in today's world.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's funny because when we started doing this music, we really started doing it just for us. It's kind of like a selfish project, but there really wasn't anything out there that was, like this. And we really did it as an escape from today's stress and pressures. And at that point, Richie's stress was really coming from the rock and roll world, so it was really an escape for him back in 1997. And gosh, it's been a really long time. It's almost 20 years now that we're still on this path, and our audience they've always said the same thing. They've said they're kind of braving this path through the forest. We find that we appeal to the independent thinkers that that aren't following trends and fashion. They're just really looking for something different, and it's just a labor of love. It's just this amazing project that kind of frees our spirit and our soul, and it's a great creative process and creative outlet. So it's just people on that journey with us.
Now, you come from a radio background. We've spoken before, and Richie, of course, as you mentioned, a hardcore rock and roller from Deep Purple and Rainbow days. And how did you come to embrace this? I know you said it was a kind of a selfish project, but why would you think, let's play mandolins and lutes and all these medieval instruments? Where did the idea come from?
Well, ironically, although everybody kind of sees Richie as this rock and roll icon, he only listens to Renaissance and medieval music around the house. So he doesn't listen to any rock stuff. I guess after being in the industry for, 50 years now, he, at that point, when I first met him was in 1989, and he introduced me to Renaissance and medieval music. I had never heard of this genre or this style of music before, ever. And he still only listens to really purist medieval and Renaissance music. He doesn't listen to even mixture bands that mix it together. He tends to shy away from that. He has a tendency to listen to the purist bands that are doing it. So he introduced me to that whole world, that whole genre of music. And but I think that the people who had followed Richie, he'd been doing it, obviously, Deep Purple, he started Deep Purple in 1968. And I think when you go back and you listen to some of the songs that he's done, back obviously 1971, their huge hit with Smoke on the Water, he wasn't doing the riff of Smoke on the Water in singular notes. He was doing it in medieval fourths and fifths, and it's a modal scale from hundreds of years ago, and it gave it really more of a kind of dark and ominous sound. So he doesn't pluck those strings just, singularly. He does it in fourths and fifths. And then, obviously into Rainbow, 16th Century Greensleeves, or even jamming on the original Greensleeves on stage when you look up some of the live stuff that he'd done way back then. So he's kind of always incorporated, this kind of music, even though it was the rock world, even Temple of the King. And there's been so many, reflections of prior music, of music from hundreds of years ago, even in the rock world when he was doing it. So I have a feeling that the real diehard fans that had followed him for so long kind of saw that Renaissance flavor within the music that he was doing. And when he left Deep Purple in 93, reformed Rainbow in 95. He was looking for someone to help write lyrics, and I happened to be around at that point, and he asked me if I could write some words over some of the songs that he had done, the backing tracks. So I kind of just, put pen to paper, and by the time I was on the ferry going on my way up to see him, and by the time I got to the other side of the ferry, I had written 14 verses, and just to try it. And they said, yeah, they loved it. They chose the 4 that they wanted. They pieced the other 2 together, and it turned out to be one of the songs that wound up winning awards on Stranger in Us All album in 95. But while the other guys were doing their rock tracks, the drum tracks or the vocal tracks, Richie and I would be sitting by the fireplace. It was in a farmhouse in Massachusetts, Longview Farm, which was the studio they recorded it in. And the snow was falling, and we were miles from anywhere, and there's about 6 feet of snow outside, so we weren't going anywhere. And just watching the fireplace, and he'd have the acoustic guitar, and that's when we started really just writing our songs. And we didn't think we would put it out on a CD or an album for anyone. We just kind of were doing it for ourselves at that point, and that brought us to the release of 1997, Shadow of the Moon. So it's really been a very natural kind of evolution of and progression of our relationship musically as well as personally.
Now, you met him in '89. As I recall from speaking in the past with you, you were hosting a radio show or tied to a radio station that was doing something with Richie, and I believe it was Deep Purple. And that's where you guys met. And how did the love bloom? Because you guys are just such a wonderful couple. You complement each other so well.
Thank you. Well, yeah, it's been a long time. We actually, when I first met him, I was interning at a radio station. I had my own college station that I had my own show on, but I really wanted to go into professional radio, and so I was interning in basically anything I could just to see where I would fit in the puzzle of radio. I was doing commercials, editing commercials, voiceovers commercials, working in the studio with the on-air DJs, doing promotions, sales department. I was like wherever they needed me, I would be. And I worked there for about a year and a half. And while I was working, it was actually WBAB on Long Island, which at that point was the #1 arbitrated radio station, so it was very exciting. And of course, Deep Purple came to town on their tour, and they called us up and they said, we'd like to play a charity soccer match. And our guys said, great, let's do it. Raise some money for charity. And so, found the field, and I showed up to cheer my team on, which was the BAB guys, not knowing that the other team, the Deep Purple team, which was basically only Richie and Roger, I think, showed up at that point. They had just gotten all of these ringers that were European guys, and the European guys, they live and breathe this, their football, our soccer. And they completely annihilated us. And we had all these DJs who were not very athletic. They were very good at pushing the buttons and eating the pizza, but they weren't so good at running up and down a field with a ball, so we didn't score many goals. But I was still there, sportsmanlike. I was cheering my team on, and when Richie walked off the field, I went over for an autograph, and that was how we met. He gave me a wonderful compliment in that lovely English accent that he has, and just told me that I was a beautiful girl, and I said, thank you so much, and I went to walk off with my little autograph and went to get back to my car, and he sent his roadie through the crowd to find out who I was and asked me to meet him later on at a pub. And we just talked until the wee hours of the morning, just all night about just totally connected, and I haven't been able to get rid of him since then.
And all these years later, and now you two have 2 children, Autumn, which I believe is, 5 or 6 now?
Yeah, she's going to be 6 next weekend.
Wow. And Rory is 3?
He just turned 4. Just turned 4. So that weird time of year where I've got a 4 and a 5-year-old. Yeah, they sound really close together.
Your hands full, I'll tell you.
Completely.
You've got a new album out, Starlight Starbright, and this is primarily, as I said in the introduction, it's a lullaby album. It's a children's album, but it appeals to your adult fans as well. I find that anyone that likes Blackmore's Night will enjoy this, whether you're an adult or a child. I've been playing quite a bit of it. It's a mix of originals. It's a mix of covers, some classic tunes. One of them that I want to play now is the track 2, which is Robin Redbreast. Now, this goes back to your first solo album of 2011, but this is a different take, a different recording, correct?
Yes, yeah, we kind of dusted off, some of the old tracks for, just polished them up a little bit, added some new instrumentation, and just made them a little bit more relaxing. But I felt like the message still was so strong, and I felt like it would really work for anybody, whether it was adults who are just looking to relax or just go to that dream world and escape again from the stress and pressures of their normal work day, or it really works for children just to be able to lull them into that wonderful land of sleep and have them just completely comfortable. But it also has a great message, sort of like an Earth Day message, talking about these birds who are flying into this world of basically this beautiful world that we see from a distance, but humans putting some garbage or pollution. I don't say it in those words because I don't know what rhymes with pollution in a song, so that wouldn't really work out.
How about solution? Solution.
Oh, that's a nice one. Oh, see, I needed you, Tom. I needed you on that one. But it's really got a good message. So hopefully, when people hear it, they'll be able to really relate to it.
Well, it is springtime, and although you wouldn't know it here in Chicagoland with all the rain and sleet and snow we've had all the way through up until like a week ago, we're going to pretend that Robin Redbreast is here to bring in the summer and spring season. So we'll be back with Candice Night after we check this one out. It's Robin Redbreast, and this is off the Candice Night solo album, Starlight Starbright. If you want to win it, be the first caller right now at 219-769-9577. Candice, we've got a listener that's called in from Taftville, Connecticut that would like to say hello. He's our winner.
Great. Okay, hello.
This is Dale.
Hi, Candice. Dale.
Hi, Dale. Hi, how are you, Dale?
I'm doing great. I just love you and Richie's projects and your music so much. We've actually had the pleasure of seeing you in Ridgefield and down on Long Island.
Oh, that's great. We're coming back to Ridgefield soon.
Yes, in August, I believe.
That's right. You probably know better than I do, so I hope I'll see you there in the audience. We always have a great time there. We used to live in Connecticut, so in Reading.
It's been really fun when we haven't been able to catch your shows. I wish you were able to do more here in the States. but I absolutely understand the draw of the European tours you do.
Yeah, well, we're working on some more though. We're going to do a whole bunch in August, and then we're coming back for a run in October also. And we love the Northeast, so we'll definitely be right around your area.
Well, fantastic. I'm looking forward to hearing the entire album.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
And you'll be getting it real soon. We'll be mailing it out to you, Dale. Thank you so much for calling.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Candice.
Thanks, Dale.
All right. Candice, this album has been out, about 6 months?
Pretty much. I think so, yeah.
And you were talking about touring, and the tour that I understand is happening is Blackmore's Night. I've also heard that you're going to be doing a solo tour, and possibly there's some rainbow dates. Is that rumor? Is that fact? What's the story on the touring?
Rumor on the solo one. If I can get Richie, every once in a while I can get him to play some of my solo stuff on stage, but Richie, he's predictably unpredictable.
Right.
Where you never really, the second you count on something, he's going to do the complete opposite. So, but we do take requests from the audience. So I have seen some people, yell out some of my solo stuff, and then he's kind of gone into that, and I've been able to do that for some people, which is great. They're very appreciative because it's something that they don't normally expect. They expect the Blackmore's Night stuff, but when they call out some of the solo stuff, they don't know if it's going to happen or not. Every once in a while, he caves and does it, which is so much fun. And the truth of the rest of the rumor is the rainbow dates. He's going to be doing 3 rainbow dates overseas, 2 in Germany at festivals and 1 in England. So he asked me to do the backing vocals on those dates, which I'm really excited about because I haven't done backing vocals for him since '95. So it'll be good to get back there.
Only 3 dates in Europe, though. Nothing for us in the colonies here.
So far, so far. Yeah, but I think he wanted to see how it went. You know, he reformed. Well, he didn't reform. He actually took kind of cherry-picked band members from some of the Blackmore's Night earlier eras than we have, you know, now, and also some brand new people, and kind of redid Rainbow completely. So, you know, we did the rehearsals the other day, and they just sound amazing. We've got Jens Johansson from Stradivarius, and also I believe he played with Dio for a while, and Yngwie Malmsteen. So he's just a whiz on keyboards. Brand new vocalist who we discovered on one of those 2 a.m. searches on YouTube. You know, so sometimes the internet is a good thing. Sometimes not so much.
A lot of people are getting their lead singers from YouTube. It's crazy.
Yeah. It really is. I mean, there's so many amazingly talented people out there that you never really know about. You don't see them, you don't hear about them. And we found this guy. He's originally from Chile, and he now lives in Spain with his wife and child, and he does rainbow cover bands. And he just sounded amazing. He sounds almost like Dio. I mean, he's got that same kind of vibe. But he also can be very melodic, so he can do the Joel and Turner stuff. He's got a little bit of Freddie Mercury in him. He's just amazing to watch on stage. And I think he's actually working his day job, I say in quotes, he's working he's putting bands together from youth over in Spain that they don't have you know, I don't want to say troubled youth, but the youth that maybe are looking for something to do. So you know, so he really helps out a lot, hands-on with a lot of the kids out there, the teenagers out there, and he's amazing. He's got a really good heart. He's really stable, which is hard to find in the music industry.
Right.
But his musicianship is just off the charts. His voice is incredible. He's a really nice guy, and we're all really looking forward to working with him. So I'm excited.
What is his name?
Happen. Ronnie Romero.
Ronnie Romero. Okay.
Yeah, he's got another band he just put together. They're called Lords of Black, but what he's doing with them is completely different than what he's doing with Rainbow. When you hear him sing some of the Rainbow songs, it just gave me goosebumps. So it was really exciting to see him do those songs.
So the dates that you were talking with to Dale Walters that just called in, how many dates are you doing in the States? You said you're going to do more in August. Are you coming back to Chicago? It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. I know. Yeah, the funny thing here is the traveling. Richie hates doing the plane rides domestically. He's usually good for one plane ride, like going overseas, and then we drive pretty much everywhere. But over here, it's kind of tricky because flying, you know, we'd love to do the whole United States. We get so many requests, even the West Coast, you know, down south. So we're really trying to reach as many people as we can. So I'm hoping to get back to Chicago in October. I know if it's cold there now, I can't imagine what you guys are going to be like.
It'll probably be 90 then.
Exactly. We'll keep playing Robin Redbreast. We'll bring you the sunshine.
There you go.
But but we're definitely working on more and more as we go along. So there's more dates to be put into those into that routing still. So we're working on it.
Will it likely be House of Blues again? That's where I saw you last time.
I would think so. Yeah, it's a great venue.
All right, let's talk.
And they're always really good for us, so they treat us well. So we would love to do that again.
Let's talk about the new album. That's why we're here, Starlight Starbright. And what inspired you at this point? I mean, obviously you have 2 children, but they've been with you for a couple of years. Why this album now?
Well, honestly, when I first went in to do just the simple demos on it, I kind of anticipated the every half an hour feedings throughout the night, and I thought what I really dreamed about was putting my children to sleep, you know, just with the sound of my voice, and waking them up every morning with the sound of my voice in song. And you know, I just think it's such a wonderful foundation for kids to have, just that really strong foundation of music. I think it can be so soothing and just relaxing. And I often joke with people because a lot of people tell me I have such a relaxing voice that it kind of puts them to sleep. And I'm like, well, that means I was either going to be a lullaby singer or a politician, like one or the other. If I open my mouth and you start to fall asleep, that's what it had to be. But I wound up just saying, you know, when Pat was out and we were doing the Blackmore's Night songs, which I basically recorded until I was 9 months pregnant, I said, you know, I'd really like to just put some demos down just in case, on the off chance I'm just way too tired to sing to my children. I'd like to just pop a CD in and do it that way. That plan never actually happened. I actually always wound up singing to them. But so I had demos that I had worked out with Pat. that were kind of just the structure of the songs and the ideas of what I had. And then I had two of my friends who actually got pregnant right around the same time I did. And I remember talking to them one night after we had, I had my daughter, and they were just about to have their children. And I said, I'm really looking for, I said, just all I want to do is just lay there and just hold her close to my heart, rock her in that rocking chair, have our own private, intimate moments, and just sing to her, sing her to sleep, all these beautiful, beautiful songs. And I said, are you guys going to do that too? And they looked at me like I was insane. And they said, I would never sing my child to sleep because my voice would scare them. I wouldn't want to do that. And it kind of never really, I never realized that some people think that way. Obviously, to a child, the sound of mommy's voice is just the most soothing thing in the world. They don't know if you're pitch perfect. They don't care.
Right.
But, when you talk to them, that's their comfort level and their comfort zone. So I thought, wow, there's going to be a lot of children out there who don't have mommy singing to them because mommy's not comfortable, with singing and sharing that with their own child. And it kind of broke my heart a little bit. I got really sad. So it's another reason I put these songs out there for the parents who maybe aren't as secure in their singing abilities. I say to do it either way. I would always want the mom to sing to the child because they would just love that. But for parents who are just looking, or maybe parents who are just exhausted, because it's really an exhausting job. It's so well worth it, and it's amazing. The hardest job you'll ever love, someone told me. But mommies definitely get tired. So if you just want to pop in a CD and relax, just holding your child and rocking them to that wonderful world of sleep, this is the perfect album to be able to do that with. So
Now,
that's what inspired me.
Do you play everything on this album, or is Richie helping you, the band helping you?
Richie, I have my wonderful violinist friend, Claire Smith, who goes as the Scarlet Fiddler in Blackmore's Night. She's brilliant. So any of the violin parts you hear will definitely be her. Richie's doing all the guitar work for me, for sure, and I'm doing all the recorders and the penny whistles and all the vocals, backing and lead, obviously. And then Pat Regan, and actually I did a couple of tambourine, little percussive things too. But Pat Regan was the one who kind of filled out all the rest of it with the orchestra stuff on keyboards and pads like that. So yeah, it's just like the four of us.
Well, it's interesting because you were inspired by motherhood to create these songs and this album, and you actually co-wrote one with your daughter, who, as we said, just is turning 6 next week. What was her input on Lullaby in the Night? And then we're going to feature that.
I can't even take any credit for that, really, because she 100% wrote that song. It was amazing. She was 1.5. She was rocking her dolly to sleep in the big rocking chair that I used to rock her to sleep, and she was just surrounded by her little dollies and had one cradled in her arm, and it was such an innocent moment. I heard her singing. I was putting laundry away in the other room, and I just heard her singing, and I kind of peeked around the corner, and I just saw her sitting there rocking her dolls to sleep and singing this beautiful song, this beautiful melody. She made up the words and the melody at one time. And so, of course, like any good mamarazzi, I ran and I got my video camera because I'm hovering over my children with the camera at all times. And I videotaped her doing it. And it was just such a pure, beautiful moment filled with love for her children, her dollies. And so when Pat next came for the next installment of Blackmore's Night recordings, I played it for him. I said, we have to do this. It's so beautiful. And so I wrote down the words that she had written and sang the melody line, and then we just added the instrumentation afterwards. And I was just glowing with pride and so excited also that not only had she created this beautiful song, but she was able to star in the video that we did when she was 4 years old. She did the video with me. And it was so funny. We actually shot the video for Once in a Garden as well as Lullaby in the Night on the same day. So it was a long day for my kids.
Both of those are included on this CD that we're giving away today, too, that's out there. So you get the bonus DVD or the bonus videos on this.
That's right, exactly, yeah. And it's beautiful visuals, and we did it in Germany. And my son is actually also included with a bunch of other children in Once in a Garden. But when it came to doing Lullaby in the Night, I said to Autumn, I said, listen, okay, I know this might be a little difficult, but you're going to have to, because it was green screen. Obviously, I'm not sitting on the moon sparkling, with sparkling dust coming out of my fingertips. So they really did beautiful magic on there. But I said, okay, you have to look out the window and pretend you see like a fairy floating in the night. And I'm talking her through it. And I said, are you sure you can do this? And she said, yeah, okay, I can do it. So I said, all right, ready? So go, walk to the window. And she goes, no, I'm waiting for the director to say action.
Wow.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? You're 4. Like, they were hysterical. The German, like, director was hysterical laughing. So they're
That's
like,
just
are you
too
sure
funny.
she's 4? But, yeah, so she did the whole thing. She acted it out really, really well. And so she stars in the video, too. And it should be, because that's kind of like her song. So I'm pleased to just say
Well,
that.
one day we'll be
100%
interviewing her and talking about her first song at age 1.5 and her
She
starring
would
role.
love it. She makes up songs about from the second she wakes up in the morning she lives a musical. She could be making up songs about brushing her teeth or putting on a sock. Like it just bursts into song for at all times. So she would love that.
Well, this is it. This is Lullaby in the Night, written by Autumn Blackmore, and a little help from Mom. And that we're going to give that CD away right now. So be the fifth caller at 219-769-9577, 769-9577. Fifth caller, you're taking home the CD as we listen to the Lullaby in the Night. Music there, that is Lullaby in the Night, written by 1.5-year-old Autumn Blackmore, just showing that the gene is definitely there between Candice and Richie. Talk about talent. Good stuff there, and we have a winner. I believe we're bringing him on. Dan, are we bringing Rick on? Hang on one second. Here we go. Hello, Rick?
Yes.
Hi, you're on the phone with me, Tom Lounges, and Candice Night. Where are you calling from?
Spring Hill, Tennessee.
Wow, all right. How's things in Spring Hill, Tennessee?
Raining today, but still beautiful. I love it down here. I'm from Milwaukee originally, but I went out south in '97 to work for a big company down here, and I love the area. It's a beautiful country out here.
All right. Well, Candice, do you ever get down to Spring Hill, Tennessee?
I have never been to Tennessee, but I've always wanted to go. I hear it's absolutely beautiful.
It's beautiful, and it's the culture is very laid back, and it's within an hour from Nashville, and Nashville has a wonderful music culture too. It's not all country, but it has great roots and wonderful things to see. Because it isn't they're starving artists, so you go from club to club and you don't pay anything. So
wow, and amazing musicians. They just flock there.
Yes. Exactly.
It's in the water there.
And speaking of amazing musicians, I just wanted to say I was lucky enough to win the recording and that you've done, but I also just want to compliment the wonderful work you've done with Richie over the years. I do appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Oh, that's really good to hear. Thank you so much.
Yes, I will definitely promote. And unfortunately, I'm of the age right now where I don't have children to play lullabies to or that type of music. However, I do have grandchildren, and that's where I'm going to use it.
There you go.
Perfect. Perfect.
And I do play music. I do. I love guitar and bass, and I'm an old fan of Richie's too, from way back when, because that's how I got introduced to you. But hey, I think a lot of people were introduced that way, and they appreciate the music, especially if you're open-minded, like you said at the beginning of the show. But thank you again.
All right,
Rick.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you for calling, Rick. One of the things that I want to bring out too, Candice, is that I do a lot of work. In fact, the first time we talked, I had contacted you guys about donating some signed items for our Pet Rock event. I work with fundraising for the Humane Society here in Northwest Indiana, and you are very much an animal rights activist. You are a very big supporter of adoptions and have helped so many different rescues over the years. And I just want to say thank you for that on behalf of the animals.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's a no-brainer. I mean, I would be doing it whether we got, mentioned on the radio or not, because we work with local animal charities. We work with wherever we go. We really try to get the animal charities out there so more people can be aware of what's going on. I honestly think that the people who work with these places are just angels on earth. I mean, the stuff that they have to see every day and they just put themselves out there and they help these incredible animals that are abused or that need homes or that are abandoned. It's heartbreaking to think of one story like that, but to have to deal with it every single day and really put hands on and take care of them and put their heart out there, it's just amazing to watch. So anything we can do to bring funds to them or awareness to them or supplies to them, I'm there and I'll definitely do it.
Well, I just wanted to bring out regarding the album Starlight Starbright. I read in the press materials that some of the schools are using it to calm children with sensory issues and hyperactivity. I have my little pit bull on Prozac. I like like to call her, rescued from a dog fight. She's adorable, lovable little dog, but a little high-strung. And
Okay.
I have taken to playing a lot of classical and jazz music for her. So I
Oh,
decided to
interesting.
try Starlight Starbright, and she loves it.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
So there's another use for this CD. If you are working with animals and they are a little
Wow.
bit high-strung, put it on for car rides. It soothes them. She lays down and listens to the music in the back. And I just
Oh,
wanted to say there's another use for the CD as well. So
what a wonderful story. Thank you so much for telling me that. I never would have, I should have thought of that and I never did. And that's a great idea. Thank you I'm so glad I could help too. That's
yeah.
wonderful.
So you are Mia's favorite artist.
Oh, it's so good to hear. Well, that warms my heart. Thank you so much.
What is the plan at this point now that the album is out? How are you marketing this? How are you getting this out there to people and letting them know it's here?
You know, we rely on our fans for a lot of the stuff. They're just so wonderful, and a lot of it's word of mouth. I find that kind of really gets you your most loyal fan base, as opposed to a lot of the commercial radio stuff, which kind of gets shoved down your throat for like 100 times a day until they brainwash you, and then it's gone, and the next thing is out there.
Hmm.
That's such a temporary world, I think. So what we do is we have an amazing street team. They've taken so many samples, and they've brought them to everything from nursery schools to birthing rooms and hospitals and nurseries, and we've even had people, believe it or not, bring our stuff especially Starlight Starbright to hospices. I had this family the other day come up to me and tell me that their mom was recently in a hospice and had passed, but the last 2 days of her life, they just wanted to really put her in a very relaxed mood, and she had a smile on her face listening to Starlight Starbright for the last 2 days of her life, and they were thanking me for that. So
Wow.
it's just things you never normally think about. It's really incredible, and so we put a lot of the samples out there and hope that people just enjoy them and they get into the right hands and the right people, get to spread the word and just enjoy the music. So it's all really a grassroots kind of movement for us.
And hopefully on the Blackmore Night tour dates, if we yell really loud, Richie will let you do a couple of the songs. A favorite of mine, you've done so many. I mean, I love this whole album, and we're getting tight on time, but I would love to play and let the listeners know, there's a couple of covers on here that are exceptional. John Denver's Annie song, and then Kenny Loggins' Return to Pooh Corner, one of the greatest songs I think ever written with children in mind. You do justice to both of them. You bring a new treatment to them and make them your own. But I'd like to focus on one of those that you wrote, and you mentioned it earlier, Once in a Garden. Is there a story behind this? I'd like to play this as our, well, at least right now, and then maybe we'll fade out with a second song. But what's Once in a Garden story?
Once in a Garden was really, I had written that on this old piano that I got. It's not even it's not a real musician's correct piano. I was looking for something to just write my songs on, and there was this elderly couple that were about to move, and they said, it's really more of a piece of furniture, but it has so many amazing memories in it, so we really wanted to give it to a good home. So if you could take our piano, and we said, sure, of course we would. We'd love to give it a home. And I really feel like the spirit of this piano has just come through on a lot of these songs. And Once in a Garden is one of the first songs that I ever wrote on that piano, and it's just, as you probably know by now, we're so nature based, and even before I had children, just it was really important to me to kind of rediscover or reconnect with seeing through the eyes of a child. Even before I had my babies, it's so important for me to see the colors of a sunset, and I feel like we're in such a stressful world that we put on blinders all the time, and it's really hard to kind of just unplug everything, shut off your cell phone, shut off the texting, shut off the TV, everything, the computers, and just get outside and watch for a shooting star or see the sun go down or feel the grass beneath your feet. And it's all these simple pleasures that I really feel kind of recharge your batteries, reconnect you to the earth, and allow you to kind of deal with the next days, whatever the next day is going to bring you, good or bad. We're running on empty so often that we really don't get a chance to do that. We're in survival mode. So for me, writing this song was really all about getting back to that awe, that amazement, seeing those fireflies at night, watching the colors of a flower, or the springtime, seeing all these amazing, the amazing seasons that go by, the first snowfall, anything, those crystals falling from the sky. And you can probably hear the love in my voice for nature, but I really get excited about that topic, and it's such an endless source of inspiration for so many of my songs. It keeps them visual, it keeps them real, it keeps them magical and ethereal, and it's really just right outside our own window. So really, that's what Once in a Garden really wound up being for me, is that reconnection with nature, getting back to your childhood roots and seeing things through the eyes of a child.
All right. Well, let's open the phone lines, and we'll give someone a chance to take this CD home with them. We'll take caller 3 at 219-769-9577, caller 3, 769-9577, as we go to a place where the butterflies kiss our hair. Where the butterflies kiss our hair. That is a beautiful song. And looking through the booklet, Candice, there's a picture of you with children in the garden. Is that your home garden?
That garden is actually from the video shoot, so it's overseas in Germany. But I do have a garden here because I love to just get my hands dirty and get them into the earth and just watch these amazing flowers grow. So I get out there as often as I can into my garden. It really grounds me.
You were talking about your love of children, and of course we talked about your love of animals. And I know in the past I've had you on the show to talk about the Christmas albums that Blackmore's Night has, and you always talk about these beautiful parties where the neighbors all come over, the kids come over, and you sing Christmas carols. It's like you live in a fairy tale world. I mean, it's beautiful to hear you describe your life and your feelings. Do you feel like a princess?
Well, I don't know. I'm definitely very blessed. It's wonderful right now. But I almost feel like your home is your sanctuary. It is what you make it to be. And there's always going to be waxing and waning. There's always going to be dips, and there's always going to be heights. And so we just kind of roll with the punches and make of it what you can and what you need to make yourself happy and to survive out there, and that's really my mindset. So, things aren't peachy keen all the time, but definitely I count my blessings every single day, every single night. I look around me and I see these beautiful faces, my little children looking up at me, and the love of my husband and my big fluffy cat. and whether I was in a one-room place or whether I was in the house that I'm in now, I feel like I could be fine no matter where I am, because my home is really my family and my friends, and I'm really close to my parents, my brother and sisters. So it's an amazing place right now in my life.
So you're still in New York then?
Still in New York, right on Long Island. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Keep up with Candice at CandiceNight.com. Keep up with Blackmore's Night at Blackmore'sNight.com. And keep track of the tour dates that'll be added there. And I want to congratulate John, who is our latest winner, who actually couldn't stay on the phone with us. But we're going to give one more copy away. We've got about 1 minute left. Candice, is there anything we haven't touched on you'd like to?
I think that's pretty much it. I love the fact that you're so involved with the animals, and if I can inspire other people out there to get involved with that as well, that's obviously a very important message that we have. Other than that, hope to see you at the shows. I hope you're enjoying the music and the albums. There's lots more in store for not only Blackmore's Night, but for me as well. So keep in contact through. We have Facebook, we have Twitter, we've got Instagram, Tumblr. We're all over the place. So, and of course the official.com sites with Blackmore'sNight.com and CandiceNight.com. So I just wanted to thank you so much.
I appreciate you giving time to us today. I'll be in touch with you when we do our next Pet Rock to do a couple of things there, too, and we'll talk animals again.
Sounds good. I'm definitely there, whatever you need.
All right. Candice Night, our guest on A Look at the Arts. Thank you for tuning in, and we're going to give that final copy away as we give you a little taste of Misty, the final track on the album, Misty Blue. 219-769-9577. We will make it easy. We'll take the first caller right now for our final copy.